All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got both of my co-hosts on the line with me tonight. I got my man, Jay Bob on the building. What's good, bro?
Not much, man. Glad we can all get on it and do this, over the past couple weeks. Had things outside of our control, but want to quickly remind you, you can catch us on YouTube as well as follow us on TikTok at hoetohusbandpodcast. And for those interested in shout outs or promos, you can shoot us an email at hoetohusbandpodcast@gmail.com, as well as shoot us a DM on Instagram at hoetohusbandpodcast. All right, T.
What's good, SD?
I don't know, man. I want to let y'all know, regardless of what Jay said, he didn't throw a pause in there. I didn't get on it. Okay. I didn't. It wasn't me. I didn't get on it. So we're gonna pause that moment right there. Then we gonna give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for always keeping the background audio fresh. And I want to remind you all to donate to the Ho to Husband podcast and say pause when you say questionable things. Back to you, T.
I want to remind everybody that y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. Tonight's episode is titled Go With The Flow. That's a cliche that's thrown around when we discuss relationships all the time. But today we're going to have a discussion about what it looks like when a dating situation happens organically and some of the things that can disrupt that process. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss stuff that we've seen on our timelines or things that have gone viral. And so we got a couple of interesting topics to discuss this week. This first video was a video I came across where a woman was questioning a guy about whether or not he was actually romantic. His response was pretty interesting. Let's take a look.
You consider yourself romantic?
Yes. To a fault.
Really?
Yeah, because women pretend they like that bullshit and they don't. They like it until you do it, and then it gives them the ick.
No!
That's so true. Go around treating her good, kissing on her, and literally holding her hand everywhere, and then telling her that she's the best, and encouraging her, and supporting her, and doing things for her that she didn't even anticipate she needs, and then paying for everything, and then leaving rose petals, and being like, today's the first day we met. All of that gets you just like, what a fucking loser. That's what they do. They go, this fucking guy's obsessed with me.
It is true.
Yeah, women don't like it. They say they like it. My grandma liked it, but there's nobody like my grandma anymore.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that we're taught about romance and things that are, shown in movies don't actually represent what it takes to have successful women in real life. I think his perspective is a little extreme, but in general, trying to convince women to like you or being obsessed with a girl does have adverse results for a guy. So I wouldn't say that you don't have to have no romance, having some romance in the way that you communicate with a woman will always work in a man's favor. But being a hopeless romantic is definitely an L.
Yeah, I think he talking more about dudes that's trying to overdo it. And I don't think he articulating it well. Because I know every woman like flowers and opening doors and stuff like that. Like every woman like that, but it's a point where, and I think that also what plays into that is if she actually likes you or not. If she don't really like you like that, or she iffy, whatever the case, and you try to overcompensate for something because you like her too much, more than she like you, whatever the case, it's going to throw her off. She gonna be like, man, he doing too much. You know what I'm saying? But let it be a guy that she really, really is feeling, and he gets her flowers or he buys her some candy or be like, man, we met here. She gonna think that's the best thing in the world. So I understand what he's saying, but I really only think that applies to men that don't really get women like that, that the woman don't really like, and then they try to do too much to try to get the woman to like them. So I agree, but only in certain instances. Jay, what you think?
I mean, I agree with what he's saying for the most part. I mean, no woman wants the guy that's overdoing it, love bombing her, good morning, beautiful, sending flowers to her job all the time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cool if like Esty said, she likes you and you want to do it for like Valentine's Day or something like that. That's one thing. But you sit there doing all this extra stuff and she don't even like you like that. Yeah, You're just gonna get talked about, getting clowned in the group chat, and put on the close friends on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, we all know women that talk about the guys that are talking to themselves in their DMs and things of that nature. So I think this conversation, we talk about it all the time, but I think it has to do with technology and how dating and interactions happen in 2024 compared to previous generations. Back in the 50s or 60s, you had to open doors and do things that presented you as a gentleman in order to get the upper caliber women. Now, women still like those, like SD alluded to.
Yeah.
Women still like those type of things. They like a man that wears cologne and can dress up well and get clean, and they want to be seen with a man and those type of things. But when a guy is trying to convince a woman or win her over, usually he's playing from that. That's usually a situation where a dude's trying to escape the friend zone by doing too much, by trying to show up. I made that. That's one of the lessons I learned in high school. I was that dude. I was the hopeless romantic that couldn't believe she gave me her number. You know what I'm saying? Like, you done left 3 messages. You done like.
So let me ask you something, Terry. Now that you're bringing up this personal story, when you were in high school, were you bigger in high school? Were you a bigger guy then? You wasn't a bigger dude in high school. You got bigger after you got out. All right, because typically you see that, and I was asking, and I don't know if it was something that you were insecure about or lacked confidence in. Because a lot of times when men overcompensate, try to do too much, hopeless romantic, hope she like me, let me try this, let me try that. It's a lot of times because it's something that they're not confident in themselves. So they overcompensate in other areas to get her to like him. You know what I'm saying? They're not confident in their weight, or they're not confident in their height. So now they try to overcompensate it with gifts and money.
Yeah. Pretty
well,
much.
no, I wasn't buying gifts or money, but I wrote letters. You know what I'm saying? Like I would do things like that. But
it could be anything.
For me, I believed what the movies and the songs and shit said. You know what I'm saying? Like, you confessing how you feel about a girl, it's gonna make her be like, oh damn, you are the best choice. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I thought. I thought that yeah, like you said, I got a reality check on, because the information that I was told and how it's presented on how you get a girl to like you is not in alignment with how it really works. You know what I mean? Like, and until you start having success with women, or just figure it out through your partners or your cousins or whatever, and you operate in that, I say hopeless romantic mode, you're never going to be able to. I remember you talking about lots of times where like a beautiful girl will walk in the room and all the dudes will jump to her, hey, how you doing, beautiful? And you don't say shit to her. What's up? You know what I'm saying? There's some basic shit.
Yeah, keep it
moving. Most guys wouldn't have the heart to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or to not be outdone by the other guys. So those are kind of lessons that you either have to learn through trial and error, or have another man explain it to you.
Yeah, you really, and to be honest, if you want to get the girl, if you want to get the chick, you can't be this hopeless romantic guy most times. You know what I'm saying? You just can't be, like, because the fact of the matter is, like you said, not like that hopeless romantic stuff might have worked back in the 90s, because you actually had to get to the woman, then go out with her and all this stuff. That was the only time you really had access to her. So it was a little different. Flowers all the time, this and that. And then now these here chicks getting so much attention from dudes. They got 1,000 hopeless romantic guys in their DMs that they ignoring every day. So the hopeless romantic role don't really work like that. So, and the strategy holds true even on social media, right? Because even on social media with beautiful women, I don't DM them. I might follow them, and then they follow me back. And I just interact like I normally do. I don't ask them for their number. I don't do too much. I'd be like, yo, like any other woman in there. And more times than not, they want to know why. They be like, why aren't you at me like these here other dudes? I know I'm pretty. And I'll be like, you all right? You know what I'm saying? But I know plenty of pretty women.
But the reality of that is, you don't do that because you don't have to. You have other options.
True.
And so you operate like a dude with options. But most guys don't really get to experience that POV. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about it all the time. Most guys don't get to live the whole lifestyle. If they're not famous or rich or just able to just convince, you know, they're like, most dudes don't just get it out the mud and have, I don't even know what math, I would say relatively good success. I could say, you know, I got married at 25, but on the pace that I was on with my peers, man, I would have medaled in the race, you know, like in any environment. But that's because I was a nerd. I was very logical about how I approach women and put myself in position to have sexual interactions with women or conversations. You know, I'm the king of truth or dare. You know what I'm saying? Like I spark a truth or dare game up.
Truth or dare. You just brought back some memories, boy. Sitting in the apartment butt naked in there, man. Oh man, that was crazy.
But hey, to a mean, but you need that type of energy. You need the dude that's gonna come with the, you know, sexual dare or the sexual question.
Yeah.
You know, it don't matter if she choose dare or question. This is getting into a sexual tone where we finna right. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that comes from, that's experience. That's reading the room, like just stuff that it takes to have success. Like you know,
anything else. It's like anything else that you do. The more experience you get, the better you become at it. So if you don't get that experience dealing with women like that, then you know you're gonna struggle. You're not gonna be real good at talking to women, dealing with women, understanding women. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what to do, what not to do, what buttons to push, what not to push. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be any good at that. And a lot of times when a man, like I said earlier, ain't good at that, he tends to overcompensate for the lack. Whatever that lack is, he tends to overcompensate for it. And a lot of times that pushes the woman away. That's why that lady agreed with it. She said, no, you're right. You're right. Even if she really like you, when she realized that
you could talk
you're overdoing it, when she realized you overdoing it, she will stop liking you like that if you overdo it. So you can be romantic, but don't do too much, because doing too much will leave you out here beating off on the weekend.
All right, man. Let's keep things rolling. This next video is a woman explaining why being called an independent, strong woman is not a compliment to her. Let's take a look.
Not address me as a strong, independent Black woman. It's not a compliment. I never hear a man that is raising children alone say, I'm mom and dad. He never becomes overly feminine because he's raising children. But we as women become overly masculine because we are raising children, because I'm mom and dad and I got to do all these things, right? And now I put extra stuff on me. And then I say, ain't nobody helping me. Well, nobody told you to do that. There is help available, all because I was trying to overcompensate for what daddy wasn't doing. I didn't have to be mom and dad, because when you think of something strong, you do not think of coming to the aid of it. So when we are looked at and walk around as strong, what we're putting out is, I do not need assistance. I don't need your help. So anytime a man says, oh, I love it, you're so strong, I said, no, I'm not strong. I'm resilient. I'm not independent. I'm interdependent.
I believe the lady's name is April Mason or something to that effect. I don't know exactly. I think that. But I can totally understand her perspective, because we often talk about the I don't need a man type of vibe or attitude, and how much of it discourages a man that's in a position with options to select her. I like a woman that is capable of handling situations. I don't want to have to guide you through, you know, if there's a crisis, I expect you to be able to have some type of logic or something about it. You know what I mean? But those are things that if you're in a serious relationship or you live with a couple, with a woman, those are things you come up with a system for your household. You know what I mean? To what my expectations are or what your strengths and weaknesses are. But in regards to a woman that, like I like how she rephrased it, I'm resilient. You know what I mean? And I can get through tough times or whatnot. Like my wife displayed resiliency dealing with this hurricane situation. Like there are just certain stuff. She was resourceful. She's like, hey, I can cook us some meals on the grill. You throw some meat on the grill. Like we were able to make meals and deal with the, catastrophic situation, even though we just lost power for a couple of days. But the fact that she can think through a situation and not just remind me how hot she is 100 times a day. You know what I'm saying? Like there are some women out there that are just complaining and ain't offering no solution and ain't doing nothing to make the situation better. And that's the type of woman that you actually want to build your life with.
Man, listen, you hit the nail on the head, dude, because as a man in the position that has, options and different things like that, as soon as I hear a woman say I'm strong and independent, I'm out the door. I'll holler at you. I'll holler at you. What you telling me this for? You got it. Like she said in the video, it's like you don't need somebody, because think about it. For the strong person, and me being single, everybody look at me or like, oh man, he's strong. He always got it together. He ain't never sad. He ain't never this. You know who check on me? Nobody really outside my mom and my dad. That's it. People that I know, they don't really check on me to be like, yo, you good? You straight? You this and that? Because I'm always the strong person. But if a woman appears that way, you got it. You don't need no help. I'm not going to help you. You strong and independent. Independent means by yourself. I don't want no woman that's walking around here boasting and bragging about how she don't need nobody. I'm sorry. It's just not for me and a woman that I would like to build a long-lasting relationship with, because that tells me that you've been in this here mode so long that you wear that as a badge of honor.
And it's not.
I'm not going to try to take it from you. I'm not going to try to change you and get you out of this mode. Absolutely not. I'm going to go over here to where this woman has been feminine, interdependent, knows she need a man, thinks she need a man, and behave like she need a man. Even though she handles her business just like you, she cool. She might be a nurse. She might be a teacher. She might be a customer service rep, whatever. But she hasn't adopted that mindset and that attitude, because that's the problem. Because only the woman with the mindset and attitude like that will come out her mouth and say, hey, I'm strong, independent, because followed by that a lot of times is, and I don't need a man. And those are the types of women that I don't want to be bothered with. They mattress food at best.
Yeah, I agree there. No, with those type of women, nobody wants to constantly be reminded that you're independent. Hey, you can pay your own bills, your own rent, lights.
An adult.
That's where I'm going with it. So what you're saying is you're a basic adult, because as a grown adult, you should be able to do those things. So I don't see what makes you special by saying, okay, you do that. Like she said, somebody who's resilient and resourceful. Terry, those are great points you made. You want somebody who can problem solve, because like you said, complaining about, hey, we ain't got no power. It's hot. It sucks. It isn't going to change it. It ain't going to make the power come back on no sooner. Yeah.
Right. Your outlook and your perspective, I think it has a lot to do with like we talk about all the time, how you were raised. And this is where the single mother dynamic, has caused so much harm, because it perpetuates this type of mindset. Because I can't even count the number of women I saw my mama raise me and my siblings without a man. Like, well, that don't mean she was 100% successful just because y'all are all adults. You know what I mean? Like, and so people have this perspective that my mama raised me, so that means it was all good. And it's like, well, look at your mindset. Look at how argumentative you are. Look at how distrustworthy of men you are. Look at how many false perceptions or false ideas of men you actually have. That's one of the main reasons I even came to social media, was because of how women misperceive men in just general. Like, I didn't see nobody really putting out a perspective of how a real average husband material man thought and operated. And obviously there's a lane for it.
Yeah. But it's crazy how they say, okay, I see my mom raise 5 kids and she was good. If anything, and a lot of times they struggle. So if anything, that should motivate you just that much more to say, hey, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to raise those kids in those kind of conditions. But that's just me.
A lot of them don't even think like that, man. They don't even think like that. So
that's the sad part.
yeah,
Remember
man,
the
that's crazy.
video where they tried to shame a guy for having, like, man, I saw my mom was a single mom. That's why he didn't want a single mom.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it went,
Yeah.
like,
yeah. Men are shamed for everything that we shame for everything. For whatever preference it is we don't have that the majority of women don't fit.
You know what?
It don't matter what it is. Go ahead.
It's the same when black men have it, because they don't say nothing when white men have those dispositions. Just saying.
mean, yeah. But I just seen a video the other day with this rapper, Young Berg, I think his name is, maybe.
yeah,
Where he was
Hitmaker.
talking. Okay. Yeah, and he was just talking. He was like, "Hey, I personally don't think that successful men should be just with one woman or whatever." And he was saying, I'm not with her. We was doing whatever, but I don't think that where he's just telling his truth and different things like that, or how he think relationships go. Man, these women called him every name under the sun.
Called him gay.
Just off of his opinion, his preference, whatever it is for his life. So for us, we don't get to have preferences. Just like me saying I don't like these strong, independent type women, right? There's gonna be women that are going to call me names, insult me, and try to shame me based off of that. Yeah, you just can't handle a woman that's that strong. No, they irritate, and I don't want to deal with them. You know what I mean? I can't have a preference, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Because them heifers be miserable a lot of times. That's got something to say. So
Yeah,
think
about that. Like the situation in Houston right now.
Yep.
All the single women in Houston
Yeah.
dealing with this hurricane by themselves, without a man's resources, his ability. You know what I'm saying? Not just money, the ability to make sure you safe without power. You know what I'm saying? Like when there could be looting or robberies or whatever going on. Like think about how many women there are that wish they had a man in their household to help them get through a crisis like this. And it's sad and unfortunate that a lot of them are the reason that they're single. Hopefully they can get enlightened and make some changes before it's too late. But I would say most women are single due to self-sabotage and just their misperception of men.
Yeah, that's got a lot to do with it, and unrealistic expectation for who they actually are out here. That'll do it, because no matter how much we talk about this, you know what I mean. The strong, independent woman thing is a turn off for most men. The turn off for most men that most women are gonna like the masculine men that's out here doing their thing, that's got something going for themselves. That type of mindset and attitude is going to turn men off. It's not the fact that you got a good job. It's not the fact that you can take care of yourself and you educate.
You're intimidated by women like that.
No.
Yeah, that all the time.
It's none of those things. We are turned off by the attitude, behavior, and mindset that comes along with the strong, independent woman attitude. That is it. That is all. So you either change your attitude or keep getting dick and chicken wings and Capri Suns like you've been getting. That's really what it is. You know what I mean? So you don't want to change? That's on you.
All right, man. Looks like we are up against the clock. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be getting into tonight's topic, Go With The Flow, where we are talking about relationship timelines and what it means to have an organic dating situation. You guys are tuned into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hold the Husband podcast. Tonight's episode is titled Go With the Flow. And we're talking about how relationships organically form and some of the things that happen that can disrupt the dating process. Now, this phrase, go with the flow, I found myself trying to explain that to when I was single to every woman that I dated. Because a lot of times it seemed like the chicks would be so anxious to try to define what things were or confirm that we're in a relationship that it made dealing with them very unpleasant for me. And so women trying to force things to happen before I even had time to make my decision yet was always a really a big turn off for me. So ladies, you need to learn how to let things go with the flow and happen organically.
Yeah, and it really ain't nothing they can do about it. You know, a lot of panderers tell them, don't go with the flow. Don't just go with the flow. Like, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm dating with intentions. Dating has an intention. I'm trying to get to know you. I'm trying to get to know you to see if I want to take things further into a relationship. That's my intent.
Exactly.
Outside of that, I can't tell you anything. Would I like to get married one day? Sure, but I don't know you. So would I like to be in a relationship one day? Sure, but I don't know you. So I can't tell you that that's my intention with you. So you have to go with the flow of getting to know each other, understanding each other's communication styles, listening to each other, understanding how people grew up, all of these here types of things to try to get to know you to see if we'll get that far. That is going with the flow of things. Now, you don't have to, but for all these here women out here that try to shortcut the process of dating, it typically ends in disaster, like or without the results that they really want, like anything else. If you want to make it to the NBA, if you want to make it to the NBA, if you want to make it to the to a certain job, I don't care if it's AT&T or Comcast or whoever, you can't shortcut the process and say, you know what, I'm not gonna practice, all these here times. I'll just do it here. Or I'll just do it there. I'm not going to go to school like that to get this degree. I'll try to shortcut here. It typically don't work out well for you. It's the same thing when you're talking about relationships, when you try to shortcut the process and not let things happen organically. When you try to play these little games women play real quick, they try to play these little games. Make him like you more than you like him. Don't be too available for him. Tell him no sometimes when you're really available. Don't text back for 2 or 3 days. Make him think that you're busy. Try to play these little shortcut games. You can't do that with a quality dude. Quality dude to cut you off. Just like, it will not work. So, letting things happen and develop organically is the best way. But nowadays, women get to a point, a lot of women, not all of them, but a lot of them get to a point of desperation where they want the kid or they want the relationship because that biological clock just ticking away. And they try to rush it and force it down a man's throat, pause. And a lot of times the dude be like, nah, and back up off of you because of it. So you got to go with the flow. If you don't like the way the flow is going, keep it moving. Jay, what you think?
Organically, you're letting things happen naturally. I think what happens a lot with a lot of women is, they start dealing with a guy for a couple of months and then they start forcing it. And it's like, what are we doing here? We can't just keep doing this. And I think that happens once sex starts getting involved, is then they start trying to put a title on it. Hey, we can't just keep having casual sex. What are we doing here? And it's like, and honestly, like even with a quality guy, that would turn a guy off. Like for me, once you start forcing it, I'm just like,
Well, I think from a male perspective, I think that the way guys approach just dating in general is drastically different than how women approach it. Because for most guys, getting married and all that is optional. Like it's not on his agenda. It's not something we sit and talk about while we playing Madden or 2K. Like most guys don't really even have conversations with marriage until they in their 30s and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like so,
and even
it's not on their radar like that. But what I wanted to discuss with y'all is what it actually looks like when you're going with the flow. because in my situation with dating my wife, we met in college. So our flow to where we started dating was rocky as hell. I got curved, friend zone. So we hooked up on, like my first drunk text was really what sparked us linking up. But that's a story for another time. But once we did start dating and going out on a regular basis, the flow happened and it was so enjoyable. I didn't have time for my other chicks no more.
Yeah. So the flow initially is some type of communication, right? Where we communicate. Then as we might communicate here and there, now it might turn to daily communication. All right. And then it might turn into a couple times a day communication. Or for me personally, like, hey, let me know when you make it home. If you out, let me know you make it home. All right. You know what I'm saying? Or hey, hit me up in the morning. It's a certain thing. Hey, we flowing from, hey, I just met you. Now we talk once or just text here or there to now we gonna talk. Now we gonna FaceTime. Now we gonna talk every day. Now we gonna FaceTime every day. Now we gonna talk before we go to bed. Yeah, like now we gonna talk before we go to bed. Now, hey, let me know when you make it home safe. I want to know what's going on with your day. Then, hey, when we gonna see each other? Okay, when we going out? Whatever the case, you know what I'm saying? And it's a flow. It's a flow of constant movement. Not like, okay, day one we talk here or there, and then 3 weeks later we talk here or there. You know what I'm saying? That's really no flow right there. Yeah, you could walk away at that point and be like, you know what? We ain't really moving nowhere with it. Okay, it's cool. But let me tell you this. If as a woman, you have to go to the man for something involving a relationship or something like that, 9 times out of 10, he ain't ready for it. Because if he ready for it, the man is going to let you know some type of way that he's ready for it. He going to ask, he going to do something to let you know that he's ready. Because if you got to go to him, most time he's not ready for what you are ready for. It don't mean that he a bad guy or anything. He might not just be ready for what you're ready for at that time. And a lot of times it falls apart.
And that's fair.
Because, a lot of times it falls apart because she feels slighted. She feels some type of way. So she started treating him different because he wasn't ready when she was ready. And now everything fall apart because he's like, yo, why you know what I'm saying? Why you acting like this? So, it typically ends bad. So, the women just have to be patient. It ain't no different than for sex for us. We got to go with y'all flow for sex. Y'all got to go with our flow for relationships. That's just the reality of both worlds.
True.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the communication comes in, like you said. And as long as you're both being honest about how you feel at that particular time, because your feelings, it's okay for your thoughts or for your feelings to change as you experience different things with the person. Because I always describe dating as being fluid. We talking with flow. We talking about fluid. So when you talking about something fluid, as far as dating goes, the reason that I say it's fluid is because at any day, any given moment, somebody can say or do something that makes you cut them off. They can say or do something that makes you view them in a different light as well. You know what I mean? Like, so in a good or a bad way. Like it could be something unexpected, something they did for a stranger, or a conversation they were having, or something. There could be multiple things that impress you with a person's character and make you view them as somebody you could see yourself with long term. That's why how you operate, your value system, and your character is ultimately what should be driving the flow, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very important for the flow. You know what I'm saying? And women and men have to understand, like you said, anything can disrupt that flow. Anything, man. It don't matter what it is. The sex can disrupt the flow on both sides. It might not be good, whatever the case. If you disclose some type of information, you can say the wrong thing, the wrong way, and disrupt the flow. Like, relationships are fragile, especially nowadays. Everything is long distance. Most of these relationships that's being created now is created long distance. That's the most fragile type of situation, communicate, relationship, whatever the case, there is, because it don't take much for y'all to be like, man, I just ain't gonna text you no more. You ain't around. I ain't worried about you pulling up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't worried about you pulling up and showing up at my crib. So, you have to understand that, nothing out here is guaranteed when it comes to this dating thing. So you have to go with the flow to try to get to the end goal. You just do. So that's just what it is.
What are your thoughts on the flow, Jay? You have to have those conversations with women?
Yeah. Like, I've always had those conversations, like I said, it's usually a few months in where it's like, where are we going? And that's the worst part, because that conversation's always awkward. Even the ones that say, hey, let's just say, okay, we go into it, hey, we're just gonna hook up and that's and go about each other's business. Even then they'll say, well, we can't keep doing this, but I thought we agreed to just hooking up here.
Terry, you're a married man. You're a married man, Terry. Let me ask y'all something. Jay, you too. You talking to a woman, right? And Terry, let me ask you this first. Do you think that there's a certain time frame where a man consistently talking to a woman, dating a woman, or whatever, should be ready for a relationship? A time frame where you think that that's enough time to know if he want to be with this woman?
No, I don't think there's a specific time that you have to be ready, because by definition, to be ready, it means to be prepared for something at that given moment. And so a person may not be ready for a relationship when y'all first meet, but as long as they're open to the idea of a relationship, that's really all you need or should be required to bring to a dating situation to see where things go. And as long as a person is being honest about what their thoughts are, their expectations of a relationship, their background, what they do for a living, all these type of things that reveal themselves, whether they were being truthful or not over time, those are things that are, in my mind, setting the foundation for the possibility of a healthy relationship. And I don't think there's no specific time frame. It depends on how often y'all see each other. There are a lot of factors that go into it, but that has to be in place before I would even consider that with a woman.
Yeah,
True.
I
True. I get it. But I'm saying, you got a daughter. So your daughter, she been dating this dude for 4 months, right? 4 months. And you just off, you don't think that a man should know by 4 months or 6 months that he would like to be in a relationship with this woman that he been kicking it with, dating for 4 to 6 months? Like, I'm not saying that it's an absolute, like you got it, but you don't think that that's enough time?
You know what, SD? I'm in agreement with you that he should know within that time frame, within 6. Let's just say 6 months to be fair here. I would say he should know, right? But is there a certain time limit that he should know? No, because there's a lot of relationships where guy might not even been looking to be in a relationship, and hey, it just happened, ended up into a marriage. So that happens too.
Yeah. So to your point, right? When me and my wife were dating, I knew that she was somebody I had established that she met all my criteria for somebody I would marry. But I was still in college, and I knew that last semester I wasn't in an environment that was conducive for me to be in a relationship. So by definition, I wasn't ready, even though I knew I was husband material off top, and I felt she was somebody that I could see myself marrying. But based off my circumstances and my environment and what I wanted at a particular moment, I wasn't ready. And so she came to me about we had major conflicts over that. Because I remember she asked me, "Are you having sex with other people?" And I'm like, "Hell, I couldn't believe you asked me that." You know what I'm saying? Like I said, "Hell yeah," so fast she was shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but a lot of guys wouldn't do that. They would be like, "No, you're the only one. You're the," you know what I'm saying? Like they would try to tell her what she wants to hear. But I didn't. So even though it was painful to hear and was unpleasant, she respected me for it. You know what I mean? Like, so it ended up working out because she was able to see that I was genuine about who I was and what I brought to the table from day one.
So how long did y'all date before y'all actually officially became boyfriend, girlfriend? How long was y'all dealing with each other?
A little over a year before it became an official relationship.
Okay, a little over a year. Jay, what I know you kind of alluded to it a little bit while you were talking. Do you think what's a time frame where you think, okay, a man should know that, of consistent dating a woman like that?
I would say 6 months for me. I think
Okay.
you should. I think if you hang out with her enough, if you dealt with her enough, you should know in 6 months. Okay, is this somebody I can see myself in a relationship or not?
Does that change if it's long distance?
I would, yes, because
Okay.
I was around the person, because you don't know what they're doing over there. They don't know what you're doing where you're at.
Your facade.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And I agree. I agree. Like, 6 months. I always say, 3, 4 to 6 months, something like that. A dude should know, like, if he want to be with shorty or not.
Well, see,
long distance.
Man, we talking 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even. I gotta recalibrate my thinking today.
He said recalibrate.
Yeah.
It's
Because,
different.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were dating in 2001. You know what I'm saying? 2002 time frame, to where cell phones was just coming on the scene. But I've never had a long distance relationship, but I've had lots of discussions with people about them. And I've always told people it requires more trust. It requires more effective communication. And both people actually got to have their own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be with you'd be talking to somebody and all they doing is checking on what you doing all day. What you doing? Where you going? Like, they ain't never doing shit, but questioning you about what you doing and who you with and where you at. That's not gonna last, in my opinion, because one of the things that made me and my wife work, she was popping and had all her own shit going on, so she didn't have time to be worried about me, and vice versa. So when we do link up, it's, hey, what we going to eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I knew it became serious. When I start checking, like you said, we have a routine. When I started checking with you around 4 or 5, like, man, it's about dinner time. Let me see where Ty's at. You know what I'm saying? Like, us eating dinner together, it eventually became, I'm spending the night at your crib or you spending the night at mine. But that you became that much of a part of my life. That's when I knew we were seriously dating. And like I said, I didn't have time for my other chicks no more.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. So another question for you. How do you know? Like, because we know that people use people, right? Mm-hmm. We know that people use people and get involved with them for selfish gain, be it sex for the men or be it money and privileges for the woman, right? How do you know when somebody is just putting on the front just to be in a relationship? What would y'all say are keys to look out for, things to look out for people, both men and women?
Well, I was obviously there's no 100% foolproof way, because anybody can be deceived or lied to, right? But I would say one of the signs that somebody's being genuine with you is the stuff that they told y'all when y'all first started chit-chatting or talking on the phone. You actually see evidence of it once you start spending more time with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, she told you she went to dental school, and when you went to her apartment, you actually saw a dentist degree or some, you know what I'm saying? Like some dentist equipment or some, like, she's always talking about floss. She's talking about things related to dentistry. Like, it will become apparent that she's a dentist by the comfort, the trips she's taking, the things she's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the kind of, when she talks about her day, like, so you have evidence to support the stuff they told you at first. That's one thing that I always look for.
Jay, how you know when somebody front?
Does the actions match the words there? That's another thing, maybe even like character traits here. Is she selfish? Because, and that you can see, she's selfish around other people. She'll be selfish around you. I would look at that as well. Okay. But also, I think you got to be around the person for a certain amount of time to really know. Because listen, somebody can only be fake but so long, in my opinion. There.
Well, yeah. Okay. You're right. Because man, the fake gonna come out you. It's gonna come out you some kind of way, but you got to be able to pay it some attention. You got to keep your feelings under control. You know what I mean? And you got to be willing to walk away, because it's going to come out of them a lot of times, be it the woman for money, whatever the case. You know, a lot of times women will, it's love bombing on both ends. A lot of the stuff might be too good to be true, and it might be too early on. Oh, I'll do this. My husband would never have to lift a finger if he paid all the bill. Oh, I give him head every day, all day long. And you be like, really? But you know that's bull. Or my wife, hey, I'll take my lady on a trip, baby. You want to go to Acapulco next week? I know I just met you, but I'll take you there. It's usually an agenda behind it. You know what I'm saying? When somebody want to be, when they're too desperate for a relationship or get with you and all that stuff, like, it's usually an agenda behind it when it's an act. You know what I'm saying? They doing too much. Go ahead.
That's the elder on. I just want to touch on something you said. I think what you can really find out is, I don't think you can really find out until you actually living with the person and actually mixing lives together.
No.
I would let me tell you something, because there's a lot of women out there. Hey, they will get with a guy just for a place to stay. There's women
I get it, but you're gonna be able to tell they putting on a front to get that place to stay. Like, you're gonna be able to tell. It's gonna be fake, man. Some in them is gonna be fake. It's gonna let you know, man. Just like the dude trying to get sex, and that's all he really want. He ain't really trying to get to know you. The dude gonna come out the gate. Oh, you a wifey. Wait a minute, I just met you yesterday. You still a wifey. I would wife you. You see him all the time.
But you know what?
You really get to see a person doesn't really get exposed until there's some type of conflict. Yeah. And in dating, that's usually a bad thing, because I think most people naturally try to avoid conflict when they like somebody, or you in that honeymoon phase, the dating process. Like, they might have said something that you didn't really like, but you just don't say nothing because y'all just started talking, or you know what I'm saying? Like, so some of that can lead to a person ending up in a relationship or seriously dating somebody that they're not really compatible with at all, just because they were afraid to speak up, or, like you said, they weren't willing to walk away when they discovered that they weren't compatible with them.
Yeah, but it's a difference between putting on an act to get the relationship and then just having a conflict while y'all are actually talking. That's completely different. You putting on an act, something that you're gonna do just ain't gonna be right. And just having a normal conflict or whatever in the course of the relationship or talking or communication don't mean you was putting on an act. You know what I'm saying? You might have just had a moment where you got upset, you got in your feelings.
Unless it was about something very material or something very relevant. You know what I mean? Like, because there are some things that, you know, in insurance, if you misrepresent yourself at the time you get a policy, that can end up causing you to not get paid on something. So if somebody misrepresents something that's very significant, like a guy tell you he ain't got no kids, and 4 months later you find out he do, you know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that.
That's different.
Yeah, like, so a person can omit some things of their life or try to hide things, but I don't know if that's necessarily, is that considered faking too?
Is omitting lying?
Lying by omission. There you go.
Yeah, see, I guess it's hard to say. But,
I just didn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't tell you. You didn't ask. I didn't tell you. So did I really lie? Or did I just not tell you?
That's a gray area.
That might be next week. That might be a good show. That might be a good show for next week. You know what I'm saying? Lying and omission.
That's hard to define, man. You know, because there's so many gray areas.
I know.
You know, it's a tough situation.
I know.
But it is interesting to have these type of discussions, because I think it's important for people to just understand that most dating situations are not going to end in marriage. So if you understand that going in, you should be able to enjoy your experiences that you have, and then just be appreciative of the fact that you figured out that you were or were not compatible with that person. Because you should take pleasure in realizing, man, I could have ended up having a baby by this dude, or I could have ended up being in a relationship with this dude, instead of feeling like you wasted my 6 weeks. You wasted my time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and making it like it's a super bad thing.
There you go. I agree.
All right. Looks like we are up against the clock, y'all. We about to get up out of here. But before we go, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us late with the background audio. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast or our Cash App and our PayPal. Jay and SD, I appreciate y'all linking up so we can get this knocked out. This has been another episode of the Ho the Husband Podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.